Hey guys, Jason from Lochaven Woodworks here. Today what I want to show you is how to joint a piece of material that's a bit wonky with a straight edge on a table saw. So at the moment I've got a bunch of stock that I'm ripping down. The faces are pretty tidy, but the sides need a clean up. I'm without a jointer for the next few weeks, but I want to show you a little handy trick to help you get out of that tight spot. The reason why it's so important to joint a side of your timber is so that when you run it along your table saw fence, you'll have a nice straight reference, and when you take this through, the cut will be perpendicular to the other side, which will be the straight edge. When you've got something like this where everything moves, when you go to push this through the blade, you're going to have different changes where things can happen. You're not going to get that perpendicular cut. You see how that works? Now, if this was a nice straight edge, say like this, you could rest that up against the fence. You see there's no daylight showing there, and you just send that through and this side cuts nice and evenly. Lovely. Here, obviously, we don't have that situation. You can see all that daylight down there. A good way to solve this problem is with a straight edge. As you can see, the straight edge is up against the fence. This can ride, and it's got that nice connection between itself and the fence. Now if I take this board and I rest it up against this, I can now move this piece of material back and forward like this, all nice and perpendicular to that with that fence. So as I run through, keeping my little fingies out of the way, I can push this through, all nice and perpendicular. Nothing moves. I've locked this into place with my hands. I'm clamping it down onto the table and I'm pushing down to the side to keep it all in place. Who wants to see this in action? There seems to have been a glitch in the matrix while setting up the perfect shot. The vibration of the table saw completely ruined it. Oh well, let's move on. So, how do we think we did? Did we get a nice straight edge? Let's see, shall we? I think that looks pretty kosher to me. Now all we have to do is flip the newly jointed side up against the fence, readjust the fence to the size we're looking to trim off, and then run it through. That looks pretty sweet to me. And there you have it. We now have a piece with 4 flat sides. You know, our main effort was to get both of these sides perpendicular with each other, but we needed to establish that first straight edge, which we were able to achieve with the straight edge. Another way we can achieve this same sort of outcome is with a jointer sled. If you don't like your little fingies being so close to the material, then this will probably be the one for you. This here is my idea of a jointer sled. I'll take you through it in just a moment, but we've got a bunch of hold down clamps here. I've got a piece here that I move along where I need it, and then I've got a little guide here that slots into the table saw. So I've got another thinner piece of that stock that I want to rip down. You get very close to my fingers working this through with the last method. So this is where the jointer sled comes in. So I've put it into its slot so it can now move freely. I want to size my blade up, so now that this is on here, I'm going to need to raise it up substantially. I'll just go about a tooth higher than the actual material. So I can see that this is close to where I want to be. Right, so I'm going to take this bad boy off. Yeah. This here is really easy to make. All you actually need to do is take a piece of ply. Doesn't even really need to be square on either side. You do the little runner trick that I've got underneath, like the trick to attach that. There's a squillion videos, and I might even do one in the future, but essentially once you've got that runner in and it can move freely, you can then use the blade to chop off the side that's required, which is here. This side doesn't matter at all. Some jointed sleds are made to run along the fence, but mine runs on the guide there. So with this one, I know I want to get pretty close to there. So I'm going to bring this guy, which is still attached somewhere. Where is she still attached? Oh, there she is. That was holding it in place. I think I need a shorter screw for that. So I want to get this close. Essentially where I want to get this is so that these bad boys can come down and lock down on my material. So I think if I come a little bit closer like that, I'll be able to get a bit of overhang and I'll be able to adjust this to lock it where I need to. So I'm going to lift that up. Usually try and get this around about the same size. So I'm going to use my bearded pineapple tape to get a bit of an idea. So I'll whack this one in first. Whack, whack, whack. Get that close-ish to looking about right. Just shy of 40 mil. Stick her in. And obviously this is going to need to be re-screwed in. Remind me to replace those screws later. I now want to bring this back a bit. Alright, just so I'm past the blade. Now that I'm past the blade, I can actually overhang this bit of timber by a squidgem. Now I can literally go sort of on whatever angle I want, because either way, as long as there is some bit of timber hanging over the whole length, it'll all be one straight line. Then I'll be able to take off the jig, bring in the fence, flip it over, and then square off the other side. So I'm going to first get this just in a position where I've got a bit of overhang everywhere, keeping as much material as I can. I'll adjust this to a position where I'll be happy, which is about there. I do need to adjust these just a wee bit, but I'll do that. So I've made these legs longer, so that way when I come here I can squeeze down that pressure. Whoop, I just moved my timber. I can then squeeze down that pressure. Same with this one. Somewhere where I can get a good bit of pressure, and it's all locked. That is all now locked into place. It's not going to move. Right. I've got a little bit of overhang across the whole length. I want to try and take off as little as possible because this is already a little piece. And as you can see with this method, your fingies stay out of harm's way. All right, how do you think we went? Let's find out. I mean, it looks good. Looks real good. Oh yeah, that's a thing of beauty, I think. Now once again, flip her over and trim off the other side. So there you have it. We've now sorted out our little bits of timber here, and we can stick them together and get a fairly good glue joint. And we didn't need a big, fat, expensive jointer. There's always a way. There's a bunch of videos out there on how to achieve a nice jointed edge. I hope this quick little video has helped. I'm by far no expert, but these, as an amateur, I find are the couple of best ways just to get the job done. Look guys, if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up, have a subscribe, and you know, I'd love to put out more content for you, and we'll see what we come up with next. One of the things I'd really like to try and do is create a whole bunch of videos to help amateurs from an amateur. It's all well and good to get someone with 20 years of experience to go, hey, look, you've got no problem here, and then here's my $10,000 worth of tools to show you how to do it. All I needed was a straight edge or some particle board with a few Chinese clamps, and we could get the job done. So I want to try and find as many little tips and tricks that are real amateur hour but really effective, and then pass them on to you guys. So if you've got any questions, if there's any, how would you tackle this problem or that problem, drop a question in the comments section, and I'll try and help out. All right guys, thanks for watching. Catch you around next time.